Hello and welcome to On the Turf, hosted by five guys who've never been on the turf. My name is Arjun Ryan.
I'm Shribam Kande.
I'm Camille and Danny.
And I'm Ron Patel.
And for those of you who've seen our final episode's trailer for On the Turf, or those of you who are unaware, we are entering the final 6 episodes of the show to close out the 2024-2025 playoff season. It's wildcard weekend, 14 teams, only one Super Bowl champion left to be crowned. I think we should just dive right into it. But first, we want to introduce our guest for today. Ruel, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate you joining all the way from Woodbridge, New Jersey. We understand you're a Giants fan. Any thoughts on the season before, obviously Giants are not in the playoffs. Not going to talk too much about them, but just want to get your thoughts real quick.
Well, you could prepare the not in the playoffs segment for next season because they have the hardest schedule in the NFL, so it's not happening. But I believe in very slow builds. They did well in the draft this year. I think they could do well in the draft, in the upcoming draft as well, if everybody's patient and holes in the field are like patched up. So yeah, I could take a couple years of this and it will get to that eventual level of like decent football.
Let's hope. They're bringing back Joe Shane and Brian Daboll. News came out this week.
Yeah.
Seems like they're running it back. We'll see how it turns out. They have, I believe, the 4th pick in the draft.
Third.
Third pick. So QB,
Sanders,
maybe Shedeur Sanders. Not a great quarterback.
It really just depends on because and I was talking to a friend about this earlier. He was like, yeah, for sure. The Titans are drafting Travis Hunter. I'm not too sure about that.
I don't think the Titans are driving Travis
Hunter. I feel like Cam Ward.
Cam Ward.
I feel like I told him Cam Ward is going #1 overall. So I feel like Travis on the Giants will do very good. They'll get a bridge quarterback of some sort, and then we'll see what quarterbacks are available in 2026. Unless Travis Hunter does get picked up, and then Shedeur Neighbors will be a very fun fantasy combination.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun draft, I think. Obviously we'll talk about that maybe in our final episode, but let's talk about the playoffs, wildcard weekend. Let's get right into it. 4:30 on Saturday is Chargers Texans. Texans consistently getting the first afternoon window in wildcard weekend without fail. It's a tale as old time. You can always predict it. I think we're seeing two different teams here coming in on two different levels of momentum. The Chargers are playing probably their best football at this time of the year. Their defense has been consistently good all season. Justin Herbert and Ladd McConkey have come a long way. And getting healthy a little bit. J.K. Dobbins coming back. Their offensive line healthy as well. Sherry, I'll start with you. A lot of us were big on the Texans going into the season. Obviously not so far. What do you see for this matchup, and where are the keys to the game?
I think Houston's injured. All the receivers are gone. I think the offensive line has really struggled to protect C.J. Stroud, and C.J. Stroud has just not been having that great of a season compared to his rookie year. I think the Chargers are coming off of just insane momentum. I think Justin Herbert's just playing amazing football. I think that defense is getting tightened up again, and I think this is a must. I think this is a must-win game for the Chargers. I think they must. I think they can win, but I think honestly, there's more pressure on the Texans to win. Just all of the momentum coming into this season. But I'm taking the Chargers. I'm more confident in the momentum that they have and the roster just being healthy. So give me the Chargers. I think it'll be a close game because it's the playoffs. So give me the Chargers like 24-17.
Camille?
I think the Chargers have this one. The Texans are just kind of spent. They're out of gas, and they've really been playing like that the whole season. I know they've had a rough few weeks these last few weeks, but you look across the whole body of work that they've put across this season, it just hasn't been that pretty. Very choppy play, not that consistent. I think the Chargers, on the other hand, are very well coached, got a good defense, got some good things going on offense. That Ladd McConkey, Justin Herbert connection is really shining now. I expect them to go out there, score points, take care of business on defense. Give me Chargers 23-17.
All right, Ruel, we'll go you next, and then me and Rahan.
You guys are being a bit favorable to the Texans. That's way more points than I expect them to put up. I know barbecue chicken when I see it, and that Houston Texans team is cooked. I'll give you Chargers 28-10 or something like that, because again, Nico is out. God rest his soul. And that entire offense on Houston's side is just going to be extremely ugly to watch compared to a very well ironed Chargers defense that will be able to pass rush C.J. Stroud to hell and then cover the one receiver he has left.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you saw the last two games they played against quality opponents, the Ravens and the Chiefs. Neither of those games were particularly close. The Ravens game especially was really, really bad for this Texans team. I think their offense is not up to par. They're a below average offense, statistically speaking, and just by the eye test, you can tell C.J. Stroud's taken a step back this year. I don't think the Chargers have to do too much. I mean, I think the Texans defense is a little bit underrated, actually. I think they are a pretty solid squad. I think it'll be a pretty low scoring game. So I'll take the Chargers, though, 20-13.
Yeah, not really going to add anything new here. Just going to say I think this game comes down, as most of these playoff games, to the trenches. I think the Chargers have the edge on both ends. The Texans' offensive line has been a mess from week one. The Chargers' defensive line and the Chargers' offensive line, Joe Alt, Rashawn Slater might be the best tackle duo in the playoffs right now. I think they win the game for him. I think Justin Herbert, he avoids mistakes. He's not a very mistake-prone quarterback. I think he's going to manage the game well. Give me the Chargers. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game as well, 17-7. Let's move on to the next one. I'm actually going to this game. Ravens Steelers at M&T Bank Stadium. Should be a very fun game. Big rivalry game, obviously, division rivalry. Again, just like we talked about with this last game, I think this is two teams going into the playoffs with vastly different, levels of momentum. The Ravens, Lamar Jackson's had an incredible December, January, catapulting potentially, 1A, 1B with Josh in the MVP race. Obviously, that game against the Texans, we just talked about 31-2. Pretty effective capper to the season these past couple weeks. On the other hand, the Steelers are on a 4-game losing streak, 19-17 last week against the Bengals. Pretty bad loss. Look, Camille, actually, I want to start with you on this because you've been, a very pro Josh Allen, as we would expect in the MVP race.
Yeah.
But I want to, let's take a little bit of a broader approach. Do you think Lamar can keep this up in the playoffs? Because that's been the narrative with Lamar. Can he keep this level of play in the playoffs? We haven't seen it at a consistent level.
I think it's tough because last year I ignored history and context and I said Lamar was going to have a great playoffs because he's taken another step as a passer. And I'm tempted to say that this year he will do the same and perform on the playoffs, even though he hasn't in the past. And I think the difference this year is Derrick Henry. I mean, just having Derrick Henry on that team is such a matchup nightmare because defenses come out heavier sets. Now Lamar can just go out there and pass the ball however he wants. You come out lighter sets, you just shove Derrick Henry down their throats. It's just an incredible offense. Um, I think with Lamar, the big factor in this game is going to be Zay Flowers being out. I
Yeah,
think
that's
that's
huge.
really going to hurt him because you look at these stats, these separation stats that Ravens receivers are getting, and it's just absurd. I mean, Zay Flowers is incredible. Rashad Bateman is also an incredible route runner. Both of these guys get open at ridiculous rates. So pretty much his first game, I think, this year without Zay Flowers against a very tough matchup in the Steelers. I think it's pretty much a nightmare wildcard scenario. If you're the Ravens coming off of a great season, you have to face a divisional rival with a great defense, a hungry team, a team that's lost four in a row, which, is bad. But I wouldn't count on Mike Tomlin losing five in a row. I know I said last week Mike Tomlin's not going to lose
We've been
five in
saying
a
that for the
row.
past 4 weeks.
Surely he doesn't lose five in a row.
Surely
Um,
at some point.
I do think this is a tough matchup. I don't think Lamar is going to play terrible. I think he's going to have an average to above average game. But I think the Steelers are going to come out with a good game plan. I think it's going to be a slugfest, something like 24-21 victory for the Steelers.
Wow.
Oh,
I
think
mean, before we continue, I'd
Yeah,
like to
yeah.
say the line on this game right now is Ravens favored by 9.5.
I think
Nearly
it's
I think that's a
a
little
ridiculous.
crazy.
two-score
I think
line.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
It's a bit of
No,
a crazy line.
Vegas doesn't watch the AFC North. That
Yeah.
Wait. To be fair, the Ravens last time, a few weeks ago in M&T Bank, how much they win by 17 points.
But it was very close going into the fourth quarter. It kind of went topsy-turvy.
And it's a
That's
divisional
fair,
opponent that you're facing for the third time this year. I don't
Okay,
know
but
how much
okay,
it's
here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? This is an interesting game for me. It's a stoppable force meets a very movable object. I mean, Lamar Jackson has not, like you said, never been a playoff quarterback, but the Steelers have also never been a playoff team for that matter. I mean, 4 of the last 5 years have all ended in first round exits when they make the playoffs. This is not a team that is meant to get past the first round. This isn't a team that should have the talent to make it past the first round. But now they have gotten lucky with their draw. Ravens team without Zay Flowers, but I don't think it's enough. I think Lamar is playing in such a rhythmic level right now. I mean, 3 touchdowns in his last game against the Steelers. He had that amazing game against, really MVP game against the Texans, an MVP like game against the Giants a few weeks ago too. He's on another level right now. Zay Flowers being out hurts, yes, but Mark Andrews has stepped up recently. Rashad Bateman has been stepping up recently, and you still have Derrick Henry. You still have arguably a top three running back in the league. I think all of this is too much for a Steelers team that has struggled against high quality opponents recently. They struggled against the Chiefs, struggled against the Ravens, struggled against the Bengals. The Steelers team is not meant to win in January, and I don't think they're going to. Give me the Ravens, 24-14. They'll cover. They'll cover.
Wow. Tree?
Yeah, I'll be pretty straightforward. I don't necessarily think I have the confidence in this Pittsburgh offense to really like get out there or anything. I'm not really the biggest fan of Russell Wilson over the past few weeks. I think honestly, I think Arden's mentioned this before in previous weeks. It's just come down to like, silly mistakes and just simple turnovers that can honestly be prevented. I think if the Steelers, especially in any kind of divisional matchup, if they can get to a strong lead, whoever like gets on the board early and keep that momentum, like that's just going to be one of the biggest differences. But honestly, I'm just not seeing that kind of momentum that's going to come from the Steelers at the start of the game. I don't necessarily know if Russell's going to find his form again. We haven't seen it in the past few weeks. And even though like the Steelers team really does get the ball like down the field, they just can't seem to produce when it actually matters. When we're near the red zone, even in the red zone too. Honestly, like relying on field goals, unfortunately, has helped us in regular season games, but I just don't think can get you past this red hot Ravens offense. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to pick the Ravens here. It's going to be a slugfest. I'll go 17-10.
And you talked about fast starts. That's something Mike Tomlin does not do in the
Yeah.
playoffs with the Steelers.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Ruel?
Yeah, the only way Mike Tomlin would actually have like any semblance of like a chance beating the Ravens, in my opinion, is if he like manages to slow down that dynamic dual running attack. And the Steelers' run defense, last time I checked, wasn't like uber amazing. I still would give this to the Ravens, maybe like 24-21 or something like that. But it will be a bit close because there's the AFC North juju because it's just magical forces happen in that division that I don't understand, that I just have to accept. And through the fact that Tomlin always has a couple of few tricks up his sleeve that like nobody can expect. And third time playing somebody, Tomlin will game plan around that. But are there any adjustments he can make when you're facing against a rushing duo of Henry and Lamar Jackson? Lamar may not even have to throw too much, honestly, in order to get the success in this game.
Yeah. I think, Rohan, you said Lamar is a rhythmic passer right now, and I think actually that's the difference in this game. I think the Steelers offense has next to no rhythm right now. It's all moon balls or nothing happens, basically. It's either we're getting 40-yard gains or we're in third and long and punting. And I think that's really the difference in this game. I see this game, again, like I said, I'm going to this game. I'd love to be wrong right now, but the way I see this game is actually very similar to the Bengals game from last week. I see the Ravens getting out to an early lead. I see Russ and the Steelers chipping away. The defense comes alive in the second half, but ultimately, when the rubber meets the road, the Russ can't get it done. And I think that's been the story against, and that's been the story against good teams this entire season. And playoffs are different, but playoffs, it's only been 1 week. Not much can change. And I think we're gonna have some interesting conversations. Hopefully, what the direction of the Steelers offense is going forward.
I will say one final point. I think this game comes down to Joey Porter Jr. And if he can
Yeah.
lock down Rashad Bateman, I think the Steelers have a very good chance of winning this game because then he could just sell out to Derrick Henry and control the tempo of the game from there.
I think the problem is the Steelers' defense is very liable to a quick passing game, which is something Lamar has been exceptional at this season, which is right off the break, 1-2, throw the ball. And that's something in that first game, they were basically able to chip away Derrick Henry and Lamar with that quick passing game. And eventually in that fourth quarter, a bunch of big plays sprung forward. And I think, like you said, if Joey Porter Jr. can jump some of these passes, he's an aggressive corner. I think that could be the difference.
All right, so move on to Camille. This is your game.
Yeah,
This is your game.
Bills Broncos.
1 p.m., Bills Broncos.
Here we are.
In Buffalo. Camille, how are we feeling? Gotta feel good right now. If you're a Bills
Yeah, I
fan.
mean, I have to feel good, right? Like the Bills at this point, we've been an elite team for like 5 years now. Surely we don't lose to the Broncos. And if we do lose to the Broncos, then like McDermott's out and it's fine. You could restart.
Is it
Listen,
fine? It's really fine, Camille.
listen, we should win this game. Broncos are a very good team though. I just don't think they're ready for this. First time in the playoffs since like what 2017. They have an incredible offensive line, a great defense. I just think that Josh Allen is playing out of his mind. He's incredible. This offense is clicking. They'll take care of business. McDermott, I do trust to get some stops on Bo Nix in this offense. He always does well against rookie quarterbacks. Um, yeah, not much to say about this game. We just got control. We got to make sure the offensive line doesn't control the game for the Broncos, and we should be good.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I just think Bo Nix isn't ready for this moment. I don't think Bo Nix is ready to go to Buffalo in a road game on the playoffs and win. This Denver Broncos defense is amazing. I think this game is going to be closer than people expect because of how good this defense is. It's top 10 defense by nearly every single reasonable important metric, but their offense isn't there yet. I think it'll be close. Buffalo has a tendency to start slow in the playoffs, but I think it'll be a pretty safe win at the end of the day for Buffalo. I'll take the Bills 24-10.
Yeah, for me, I think this is actually a great matchup. Two probably the top two offensive lines in the league right now. With Josh, I think has only been sacked 14 times this season, which is
Wow.
historically low. And that Broncos offensive line has been doing a great job with Bo Nix as well. I really think this Broncos defense it is very good, but I also think there's a little bit of selection bias with the Broncos defense whenever they tend to play good teams, like the Ravens dropped, I think, nearly 41 on them.
Yeah.
We saw Joe Burrow and the Bengals just a couple weeks ago really, dime this defense up. And I expect, Josh Allen playing the best football of his career right now. He plays well in the playoffs. There's nothing to suggest he won't here. I think he's going to get it done here. I agree. I think it's going to be a little closer than Vegas probably thinks, but I think the Bills will get out to a good halftime lead, maybe cruise a little bit through the second half. Give me the Bills 24-16.
Yeah, I'll just go. I'll wrap my end pretty quickly. There's only two stats that I'm looking at. Number one, Josh Allen over the last 5 years hasn't lost his first playoff game like in that season. So I think that momentum's going to keep going forward. And number two, the Broncos are 1-7 this year against a team with a winning record. So, and that's not including the Chiefs from Week 18. So yeah, I know. I feel like the Broncos. I just feel like the Bills are too dominant. And I think whether it's just Josh Allen just taking over, or if Bo Nix is just gonna throw a pick, I think the Bills are just gonna be ahead no matter what. So give me the Bills. I'll go 30-23.
Ralph, final word on this game?
I would not be surprised if it's actually the Bills doing some catch up because sometimes that Bills secondary can make things way more difficult than it needs to be. And Bo Nix, as we all know, loves to air that boy out. And it's pretty prolific on that deep ball. However, I'd be very surprised if Buffalo loses this game. Give me a 35-28 Buffalo game.
It'll be a
But
fun game.
if somehow, just last game, if somehow like Buffalo like is unable to like surmount some sort of like large Denver like onslaught, I would not necessarily be as surprised. Say like if Houston wins, then like I'm done with this. But like Denver, like they have the tools, but Buffalo, Josh Allen, my fantasy MVP, you should get this.
Yeah, it should be a fun game. Let's move into the next one. 4 o'clock window. Packers Eagles. Packers 7 seed again. Same as last year, playing in the exact same window. Played an NFC East team last year, playing it again. The Eagles, 14-3 season. We've talked a lot about them. They're a very good team, kind of on both sides of the ball. Jalen Hurts, first game, I believe, in nearly a month. Coming off concussion protocol. I think he's practicing. And the Packers, how worried, I guess, Shree, I'll start with you. How worried are you about the Packers going to this game after that Week 18 loss versus Chicago? Does that worry you at all? Or do you think, do the Packers have a chance in this game, you think?
Chance, yes. Low chance, also yes. I mean, Jordan Love injured his elbow, right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I think the biggest thing about the Packers is they have to get Josh Jacobs going. I think he's been that engine for this offense going forward. I honestly think the Packers just don't have enough weapons to work with. Like I think this wide receiver by committee with what the Packers offense is doing just isn't working for them. And I don't think
Christian Watson now too. No Christian Watson.
No Christian Watson either. So
deep threats. Gone.
Yeah, and I think Jair Alexander isn't going to be there either. And AJ Brown, Devonta Smith. I mean, they did great against Jair Alexander in week 2. So unfortunately, I just think the Eagles are just going to get too far ahead for the Packers to, even try and play catch up. So I'm going to go with the Eagles here. I think they've been playing solid football over the past few weeks. So give me the Eagles. I'll go. I don't think it'll be particularly close either. So give me the Eagles 33-16.
I'll be listen, the Packers have had five chances this year to prove that they're in the upper echelon of NFC talent, and they lost all of them. Lost to the Eagles, lost twice to the Vikings, twice to the Lions. I think that shows where they are. I think that shows the kind of team they are. It's a good team. Jordan Love is not there yet. I think he's a little bit too careless with the ball. This is a Philadelphia defense that gets takeaways. It's a Philadelphia offense that doesn't need to even rely on Jalen Hurts to win this game. Saquon Barkley will be more than enough offensively. I think the Eagles win this comfortably. They're just clicking right now. We'll take the Eagles 30-20.
So I'm not going to pick the Packers, but I did heavily consider it. I think we're not talking about this. Packers defense has been pretty great consistently this entire season, guys. Like, I really think we're slouching a little bit on, we're talking a lot about the Eagles offense boat racing. This is not the same Packers defense. And I think they've
But this
kept,
but this Packers
Honestly, I don't think their
has
pass rush is good enough.
this okay. But this Packers defense, every time they've gotten a chance to prove themselves, they haven't. They've
Mm.
they got out.
it's true.
They both times against the Vikings got out ahead quick. I don't know. I forgot how much the Lions put up, but the Eagles put up 30 plus points against them. This is a good Packers team. It's not a great Packers team. It's not a great defense.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think this game, I think Shree, you brought up a great point. I think it's the Eagles offensive line that's going to win this game. They're just, along with the Bills and the Broncos, they're one of a top five unit right now. And I think, they're going to allow Saquon Barkley to run the ball. I think there is a small X factor of Jalen Hurts having a little bit of rust in this game and maybe in the passing game not being as potent as they needed to. But I think the Eagles are going to control this game, even if the Packers kind of get back into it, as they tend to, even in these games that they've lost. So give me the Eagles in a close one, but not super close one, 24-20.
Yeah, not much to add off of what you guys said. I will say that Christian Watson is a very big loss. Obviously, I'm a huge Christian Watson fan, but what he does for that offense,
Randy Moss.
Randy Moss, but what he does for that offense, taking the top off, being that deep threat, is just so good. And against an Eagles defense that is frankly incredible, it's going to make it very easy for Vic Fangio to scheme against that Packers offense and take away that element. So I do think the Packers take this one, or sorry, the Eagles take this one. I think the only shot the Packers have of winning this is if Jalen Hurts, like you said, comes out, has a rusty game, doesn't hit his throws, maybe throws a pick or two. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think this Eagles offense are just too good, honestly, up and down at every position they have. Give me the Eagles 27-20.
Well,
Yeah, only hope the Packers have is if AJ Brown's like injury sort of like goes southwards. But even then, that Eagles they have a real plethora of weapons over there. Um, I would favor the Eagles. I don't think this is the NFC North team that Philadelphia should be afraid of, which I guess that segues into our
yeah.
later conversation. But I'll give Green Bay. They can put up a good fight, and maybe Jordan Love has something in his sleeve, some sort of like, and there's some sort of game plan that could necessarily make them prevail against Philadelphia. But I'm not sure if they have that, or if they've demonstrated that they're able to beat the team special on. So give me like Philly, like yeah, I think 28-14 is fair here.
Yeah.
All right.
Next
Next
one.
game Sunday night.
Yeah, Sunday night.
I'm most excited for this game. I think this is going to be the most fun game of the weekend.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
actually have no idea like what team should even be favored in this one. Commanders, Buccaneers. These two teams played in week one of the season. The Buccaneers won 37-20, but obviously Jane Daniels and this Commanders team has come a very long way since week one. I think we know the story with these two teams. I think the story is really these two quarterbacks. Baker Mayfield having probably the best year of his career, 41 touchdowns.
Jesus, 41?
41 touchdowns.
Oh my God.
And that's with playing without Mike Evans and Chris
Hey,
Godwin
Chris
for
Godwin, yeah.
Portion of the season,
like a third of the season.
Wow.
Roel, I'll start with you on this one because I don't know how to pick this game, to be honest with you. I'm really struggling. What do you see as like the keys to the game for both these
Oh,
teams?
well, the key for Washington is Jaden Daniels ready for the bright lights and for prime time because this may not be like the quote unquote big market super like marquee matchup. Like think about it. Tampa Bay, they've proven themselves to be a very, very difficult out. Philadelphia will tell you about that from last year. Yeah. Todd Bowles leads a pretty decent defense. Offense is very electrifying. Bucky Irving, what a great running back. What a great goodness gracious. Like Tampa Bay has like plethora of weapons that could really, really, really expose a Washington defense that I feel like pretty pretty good. But would anybody you consider them like a fearsome defense? Exactly. So Tampa Bay, they can light up the building. Washington, contrasting, could also light up the building because again, this isn't the Tampa Bay defense that won that Super Bowl a couple years ago. A couple pieces are off there, still pretty strong, but like not amazing. So this might be a beautiful, beautiful no defense NBA game tier kind of
I
scoring
can't
over
wait for
here.
it.
Like I don't be surprised if you see a 42-35. Who is going to win this? I'm going to say 42-35 Washington victory. I could just see it. I could really just see it.
I'm going to pick the best quarterback here. I think both these teams are electric on offense. Like you said, defense can be a sieve at times. So give me Jaden Daniels. I think Baker is great. Baker has the experience, but if you watch Jaden Daniels play, he just makes stuff happen with his legs, with his arms. He extends plays. He isn't afraid to take a hit. He's just a gritty quarterback, which you don't expect for a guy who's as mobile and athletic. He's a real gritty quarterback who'll put his head down and get stuff done. I think he's ready. He's always been ready. Give me Jaden Daniels and the Commanders. They've been a better team all year too. So I'll give me the Commanders 30-27.
I'll agree with the better team, but like I got to give Baker that love on the better QB kind of thing because like
I don't
gotta
know.
see.
I think that's an interesting conversation because I honestly like I'm thinking right now I put them in the same tier. Honestly, I think they're both playmaking quarterbacks.
Mm,
Obviously Baker has a much larger resume than Jaden does, but gotta give respect to everything Jaden's done this entire year.
oh,
And for
100%.
me, given that these quarterbacks are the same, I really see their offensive situations is relatively the same too. I think both of them have a top shelf receiver and not much else besides that. I guess Bucky Irving. Don't let
Yeah.
me
I'll just
disrespect
like
Bucky Irving. Uh,
Irving.
but I'm gonna trust the coaching here. I trust Dan Quinn more than I trust Todd Bowles. That Todd
That's
Bowles
true.
has been a
Yeah.
questionable. I think that he's a defensive coach. The defense has not really been there this entire season. They get off to slow starts sometimes. The Commanders do too, but I'm gonna trust Jaden here. And I think that rushing ability is really going to win this game for them. So give me the Commanders in a really fun one, 34-31.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I think Jaden just been incredible. He's like, I'm pretty sure top three in PFF grading, which is remarkable for a rookie quarterback. And you watch him play and it backs it up. Every single play, he's making the right decision. He's doing the right moves. And I've been saying for a bit that I think the Commanders will have a good wild card round and they'll win a game solely because Jaden Daniels is going to go off and have his signature moment to start his playoff career. I think he's that type of guy. The big moment just kind of comes to him. He loves that type of stuff. And I think Baker has a good game as well. Like you guys are all saying, I think it's a shootout. Give me the Commanders 31-28.
I will say I got to give Bowles his credit. He does have a good run defense. So P-Rob
I was
might
gonna
just
say,
be
yeah,
waving
they're top
around.
five run
They're
defense.
fourth,
Yeah,
they're fourth in there. But
Yeah.
yeah,
And
pass
to be fair, the
defense.
Commanders don't really. Brian Robinson doesn't run the ball well anyway, so I don't think it
yeah,
hurts.
But this isn't a running game. This ball is flying through the air.
Yeah.
yeah.
Jaden's got to air it out.
Everybody's gonna hear it out, man. It's gonna be
Sure.
Sure, your
beautiful.
thoughts?
I guess I'm gonna have to. I mean, I'm gonna take the Buccaneers. I don't know. I mean, in week one when they played, Jamal Dean lined up on Terry McLaurin like the entire most of the game, and Terry McLaurin didn't have a single catch. When Jamal Dean was on him, I think for like 80% of the routes that he was on, and I genuinely think this Buccaneers defense will step it up. I think Jaden Daniels isn't great, but for me, I think the Buccaneers offense is going to run through Bucky Irving. I think the Marshawn Lattimore
Mm.
Mike Evans matchup is going to be great. I think unfortunately that will limit Mike Evans, but I think Baker's going to get it done. I feel like you guys just aren't. I feel like I'm also on the Jaden Daniels hype train also, but I think Baker Mayfield will get it done. I think this Buccaneers offense is somewhat multidimensional as well. And I think they're going to win at home. I don't really have a better reason for that other than the fact that I think, this Commanders offense is going to be stopped relatively because of Terry McLaurin and that run game isn't that great. But I think the Buccaneers have a run game and Baker's been playing pretty well. When I think the QBs are playing pretty well, I look to the other factors in the game, and I think the other factors, the Bucks are just edging them out on the offensive end. So give me the Bucks. I'll go like 33 to 28.
Cool. All right. Now let's move on to our final game of Wild Card Weekend. Rams Vikings. The Rams
Mm.
are hosting the 14-win Vikings. Obviously, disappointing Sunday night football game last week for the Vikings. Here, I'll start with you as our Vikings fan. What do you see? Are you less confident in Sam Darnold after that game, or do you still think this Vikings team can go as far as the Super Bowl, maybe?
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, Sam Darnold had a bad game, but he's had bad games in the past, and like he's bounced back perfectly fine. I don't think this Rams secondary is particularly impressive, especially against like the weapons that the Vikings have. But I am scared about the Rams pass rush though. I think they can really blitz Sam Darnold, really have him under pressure. But I think Sean McVay, not Sean McVay, Kevin O'Connell will have him ready, and I think the offense will bounce back. This offense is one of the most explosive in the league. Holding them to under 10 points is really impressive from the Lions. But I don't think anyone's going to stop Justin Jefferson the way the Lions did. So I'll take the Vikings just off of how they've been playing recently. Like, yeah, the Vikings have had a bad last game, but the Rams have been having a bad last like 5 games. So give me the Vikings. I'll give them a comfortable victory too. I'll go like 31-20. No disrespect to Sean McVay and his like playoff record, but I just don't have confidence in this Rams roster.
Bro,
Yeah, I concur with that. Matt Stafford, very, very good quarterback. Always knows how to place the ball, always knows how to go through his progressions. Like, I don't think he would be the reason that Los Angeles loses this game. I just think that the LA defense is going to have fun dealing with Addison and Jefferson for like multiple possessions per game. Plus, whenever they're hold up, why am I forgetting the name of their running back? I'm getting old, man. Gotta get this senior moment out of here.
Aaron Jones?
There's Aaron Jones.
Aaron
I was like,
Jones,
yeah.
wait,
yeah.
he's a Packer. I was like, no, he's not. He's a Viking now. But yeah, like I feel like that is a three-pronged attack that the LA defense, even though they could sustain like maybe one of them sustaining both that passing attack and that running attack will not be necessarily very easy for them compared to like the Minnesota defense who's going to be very good this year, who I think will have an easier time warding off um Los Angeles, even though, Nakua is gonna be a fun person to deal with.
Yeah, this game, I don't know, this game interests me because don't forget the Rams beat the Vikings 30-20 back in week 8, I think. So this is a very winnable game for the
And that's the
Rams.
game that really turned the season for the Rams too, after starting 1-4.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and after that, they really started to go on a roll. Um, uh, I mean, prior to last week, in which that game didn't matter. I think they're on a 4 or 5 game win streak. That being said, though, after that amazing win against the Bills where they put up 44 points, it was 3 really ugly wins against the Niners, the Jets, and the
Mm-hmm.
Cardinals,
Mm-hmm.
where they didn't put up more than 20 points. Their defense was really, really solid, but it's against offenses that you have sort of some question marks about. So,
Cardinals offense, you have question marks about? Scored 50 points last week.
okay, that I didn't even watch that game. But um, I don't know. I don't know. It's just a weird game for me because the Rams have showed like this ability to win, and the Vikings have like shown some weird tendencies to let
Mm.
teams get back into games. They played the Bears close. They played the Cardinals close. And then they got blown out in the last game that really mattered against the Lions. I don't know. It's really weird to me what who these teams are. I don't know their identities really. So I'm gonna go with my gut. I'm gonna go with the more experienced team. I'll take the Rams, although I don't feel great about it. I just think that Matt Stafford's been here before. Sean McVay has been here before. Sam Darnold, like you said, sure, he's had some bad games, and I think this is prime time to have a bad game. Monday night playoffs, away from home. This feels like the time to have a bad game for Sam Darnold. I think he has one here. I'll take the Rams 20-17.
Yeah, man, give me the Rams. First of all, just want everyone to I don't know if everyone forgot. I was on the Rams this entire year.
Oh
I
my
never lost
God.
I never lost faith in them, even when they were 1-4.
You
I was
said the Seahawks were like
I can
no,
attest to
no,
that.
no,
a good
no,
part of the year,
no,
bro.
no. That's actually
I'll agree with Origin. You've been on them, but I've been on them too.
I'm just saying, I had them winning the division before the season. I never lost faith. I was telling you, even when they're 1-4, going to that Vikings game, I was like, keep an eye on the Rams. They can go on a
I
run. The
remember Arjun. We
schedule's not
talked
too
about it.
bad. And here we are.
Wait,
Anyway,
what are you saying, Camille?
We talked about it. Me and Arjun. We both agreed. If the Rams win that game, then they go like 2-3. They turn the season around.
exactly. We did say that. We did
Mm.
say that. Anyway, Now that that's out of the way, just wanted to that's been on my mind for the past couple episodes, and I realized I forgot to bring that up. So I'm glad.
Okay, I'm glad you've been right.
um, but anyway, I'm sticking with this team here. Quarterback is the difference here. Pass rush is the difference here. Matt Stafford is a better quarterback than Sam Darnold. I don't want to be, like the biggest Sam Darnold hater, but the man is still Sam Darnold. Saw that last week. He was seeing ghosts. Like, don't get me wrong. He's had a great season. He's come a long way, but the pendulum can only swing so far. And I think it's swinging back. And we also saw, like you mentioned, these two teams played before. The pass rush got to Sam Darnold in that game. I think it's going to get to them again. The Lions had the recipe last week, and I expect the Rams to copy that this week. So Rams defense, we're talking about their offense not looking too good in those past couple games. The defense looked great. And let's not snap. Not to go back on the Cardinals. The Cardinals are not a terrible offense by any means, and this Rams defense effectively won the game for them in that game.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Same for the Jets. I mean, the Jets are not a terrible, abject failure at offense. And the Rams, okay, we don't need to. Anyway, my point is quarterback, pass rush. Give me the Rams. Close game, though. I'll say 27-24.
Wait,
Yeah,
so
this is a tough one.
I just have one question. I just have to interject here. I'm so sorry. So I just want to ask you guys, just taking the Rams over the Vikings, I think the reason why the Rams have been so good, they've been winning, is because that defense has really stepped up. Do you really think Ahkello Witherspoon and I don't even know their second corner, are they going to really hold Justin Jefferson? And
didn't they last
Let's
time?
look it up right now.
Or do you think it's going to be like an offensive shootout? Because if it's just like how the defenses are playing, I just feel like the Vikings have the edge here. No.
Well, I think the Vikings defense is highly liable to a lot of splash plays, as we saw last week. I think this Vikings defense really relies on turnovers and big splash plays from like Van Ginkel and Blake Cashman, these kinds of guys. Yeah. And I think Stafford's been a little bit reckless, but I don't know. I just think in these kinds of moments, Stafford's a great playoff quarterback. I think he's gonna play his best in this one. Camille,
I will say though, the one person that does know Sean McVay the best is probably Kevin O'Connell out of all people. So
the inverse is also true.
I want to go over the inverse, but yeah, Camille, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, this is a very tough game for me too, looking at it. I think it comes down to a couple of things. Number one, Matt Stafford has just been terrible and pressured, like just objectively one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. He's old, he could barely move. I think if Brian Flores and this Viking defense, if they're able to get some pressure home, dial up some blitzes, I think it's a good game plan on defense to contain that Rams offense. They're gonna have to focus on Puka Nacua, because let me just say Puka Nacua, I think is might be the best receiver in the league. He's just incredible. I don't think it's that crazy. You look at the metrics, yards per route run, he's far ahead in lead. It's frankly incredible. And the eye test backs it up. He's just remarkable, always getting open. He's fast, great route running, huge, strong, just a remarkable player. But then you look at the other side. I think the Vikings having that stinker, especially Darnold having that stinker last week against the Lions, helps them more than anything. When you have going into the playoffs, when you have a coaching staff like Kevin O'Connell and everybody on that Vikings team, helps them identify mistakes, lets them bounce back, lets them look at what they could improve going into the playoffs. I think they have a good game here offensively. I think they do have a bounce back game. I think Darnold plays well. He's been playing well all year. Like you said, Shree, he's had a couple of bad games and he's been able to bounce back. I don't think he's a bad quarterback. I don't think he's going to have a bad game here. That being said, I think it'll be a close game. I do think whoever wins this is going to lose next week. But regardless, give me the Vikings 20-17.
Should be a fun one. Three. We'll turn it over. Or sorry, Ruel.
I completely agree on that one. This is the who gets to lose next round game.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Tree, I'll turn it over to you for our final segment of the day.
Yeah. So I saw this on TikTok. So I just figured we'd replicate it here. We're just going to go around. Everyone just say, I'm going to pick a team for everyone. And in one sentence, you're going to have to give a reason for why they're going to win the Super Bowl. So some of these teams are probably going to make a lot of sense just because of the quality out there. But you just make up a good reason why. Okay. So I'll go first. Or no, I'll go last. So we'll go. Arjun, we'll start with you. The Packers. Give me one reason why the Packers are going to make the Super Bowl. No run-on sentences, please.
I'll try my best. I'm gonna say Matt LaFleur draws up a great consistent offensive game plan with Josh Jacobs at the center of it.
Okay.
Mhm.
Rohan, Chargers.
Chargers. Whoa. Just one word, I guess. The trenches. I think. Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack on defense.
I think he said no
And
nonsense.
okay, that's okay.
Okay, trenches. Yeah, that's great.
Go out, Rashawn Slater on
I don't make the rules.
That's all you need.
Camille, give me the Bills.
Their defensive line stepping up, getting home.
That's a good reason. Ruel, the Ravens.
Lamar Jackson remembers who he is.
Yeah,
That's a great reason.
I really hope he does. I really hope he does.
I'll take the Vikings. I think if I'll just go consistent offensive play. I think that'll get the job done.
Fair.
We'll go back to Arjun. The Rams.
Stafford and McVay turn it on.
Okay.
Turn back the clock.
Turn back the clock. Damn
Turn back
it.
the clock.
Fuck.
They get the icy hot out.
It was right there for you.
Rohan, we'll go to Commanders.
Jaden Daniels becomes Superman.
Okay. Now, Camille, I'll give you the Broncos.
Ooh, the Broncos. Offensive line bullies other teams.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Guy, I lost track. Ruel, the Texans.
Well, my joke one is they all pray the day before the game, and then God just goes for them. But in seriousness, Stroud utilizes his one offensive weapon very effectively.
Also a meteor strikes every single team they face.
The Texans are going to win the Super Bowl now. Just so
Exactly.
we all know.
Joe Mixon, remember, he just goes back 3 years. Like, I think it's not completely hopeless. Like,
It's pretty hopeless.
it's pretty goddamn hopeless.
I'll go next. For the Buccaneers, I'll say Baker Mayfield turns into Tom Brady. That was my reason why. Fuck, I don't even remember who we have left. Oh, the Ravens.
You did the Ravens.
You did know.
I think we
There's a
already
team
did
you haven't asked us about, Shreya.
Wait, give me that team.
Yeah. Rohan, go ahead. The Steelers.
I was talking about the Chiefs.
I was gonna.
Wait, you take the Steelers. I'll
We
take
got the Chiefs, Lions, Steelers.
I forgot about Chiefs and Lions. Yeah.
All right, I'll go Steelers. Russ gets into the kitchen, man. He's got to cook.
There you go.
I'd say more of the defense goes back to 2009.
I don't know if that's happening, man.
I mean, that's something. But it's more likely than Russ going to the kitchen. That's what I'd say.
And for the
Rohan,
Chiefs, I'll say if destiny happens as it's supposed to, the Chiefs win this. I think
That's such a
if the
sad
Chiefs-
I could just say the satanic rituals work.
Yeah. Well, no, this is they're the best team in the NFL. They will win.
Okay. And anyone want to take the Lions?
Camille, what do you think about the Lions, Camille?
The Lions, I don't know, man. Like they're just a good team. I guess it's gonna be Jahmyr Gibbs. Let me tell you that. Jahmyr Gibbs going crazy.
You guys think that they're rushing Monty back?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, no, I don't think I don't think they're rushing. I feel like the prognosis changed like a week after initially we thought it was like season ending. So I don't think they necessarily need
they don't need
Montgomery
him.
back.
Gibbs has been
They
incredible.
don't need him.
But I think
Yeah.
with him there, like that's come on. I mean, that's you can't really stop that.
Yeah. I think we've got the Eagles for Ruel.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are funny. Well, I guess Eagles is like Saquon just goes to the even higher level than the level he's been on this year. And then maybe the Eagles like defense locks in a bit more.
Damn.
Yeah.
That was kind
Say-
of cruel giving out to a Giants fan.
You guys are very funny.
I just need to say something about Saquon ascending.
Oh, no, it's been great. Giants still would not have made sense for them to pay him. Probably should have traded him earlier because he wouldn't have done that behind that
No,
pathetic
dude.
or not mediocre offensive line. It has improved from pathetic to mediocre. We're getting there instead. I still don't know if Philly beats Detroit, but that's a story for another podcast.
Yeah.
We'll be having that story. I
Yeah.
think we're gonna have.
I think
we're
we're-
gonna see that story.
I think I think in the NFC that there's a collision course between those two teams. But we'll see. Have to get through this week first. So Make sure to check out our Instagram. Check out our final On the Turf retrospective that's probably up by now. And make sure to check out tomorrow. We will have our full playoff brackets coming out. I believe last year no one really got close. The year
Wait, I
previously.
picked the Chiefs.
Oh, okay. I guess like Rohan used like
I guess
real soothsayer we got here, guys.
We got Nostradamus over here.
Hero.
Whoa.
Yeah. I wonder who's gonna pick the Chiefs again. But anyway, we'll see what we get. A couple years ago, not to brag, but I had everything right until the NFC Championship. Brock Purdy. But anyway, make sure to check out
You
Instagram
gotta
for all the
stop bringing that up.
content.
That's not that crazy a flex. Like you picked a few games, right? Like if
Up
you
to
said
the
until,
NFC Championship, man.
if
I
it was
picked
until
all the
the
wild
Super
card
Bowl,
and
if it was
divisional.
until the Super Bowl, then maybe. But the NFC Championship isn't even the final round.
I'm just saying, it was like
I will say I picked the Super Bowl start to finish.
There we go.
treat. That was 3 years
3 years
ago.
ago.
The show's
That's
over.
impressive.
Hey, look, I'm just saying that's more valid than like anything else because they were both wild card teams. All right, it's fine.
So when it comes to March Madness,
we'll
I'm not
see.
asking NAO for my bracket.
Yeah. We'll see this year, final year. Let's see if anyone can get it done. I really doubt it's going to happen. But thank you guys for joining us for this episode. Only 5 more episodes to go. Make sure to join us along the way for this final run of On the Turf. My name is Arjun Ryan.
I'm Sri Bamkanda.
I'm Camille Danny.
Ruel.
I'm Ruel Beresford. Thank you guys for having me on, by the way. You guys.
Thank you, Ruel, for coming on.
And I'm Ron Patel.
And he's Ron Patel. And we'll see you next week on the Turf. See you.